Hey,
Hello, Aaron Bruno. Hello from Washington, D.C. and me, Klinger.
how's it going, dude?
Dude, it's good. Real quick, did you participate in wear your pajamas to work day last Thursday?
No, I didn't participate because I probably just was already doing it.
That's right.
I didn't. I didn't hear about it, man. I'm not hip to what the kids are into. So my wife has to tell me what's going on in the
I
world.
get that.
Yeah.
Honestly, besides this beautiful T-shirt, I'm wearing the same thing that I woke up in this morning because it's just we're all working from home, man.
Yeah, it's my wife and I joke around about it. I'm like, is it okay to put my sweats on now? Is this chill or is it a little too early? Because once I put my sweats on, you better believe I'm not going to do much that is productive. 'Cause, So I put a new shirt. I put a new beanie on. It's kind of cold outside, so that's exciting. This shirt I wore yesterday for sure, but it doesn't. It smells okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't smell me through the phone, and what else? Same pants I've been wearing for a while. Same shoes. New socks. Put on new socks yesterday, but I'm one of those people that can roll socks for extended amount of time. Honestly,
Without stinky feet.
kind of. I think because of surfing, my feet are so thrashed from walking on rocks and stuff that they're not normal feet.
Germs don't even want to F around with your feet.
They don't mess around with my feet because they're like, yeah, let's bail. Let's go somewhere else.
Yeah, and there are plenty of other feet to go to.
There are. Not right now.
Not a lot.
Feet are not allowed to leave the house. Also,
How long have you been at your house, man? Like same as all of us? Do you get out?
I get out a little bit because I live in an area where I have like a little creek that's connected to my actual house that happens to be my land. So there's no one around. So yeah, I haven't seen anybody in a long time besides my wife and my dog. So that's been pretty cool too. In some ways I'm a little bit antisocial anyways, so there's some things about that feel the same to me.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Like, if we weren't under the lockdown for the coronavirus, like,
mm-hmm.
do you get out and about in your town, or are you kind of a recluse?
I'm more of a recluse, but not being able to go surf the waves that are close by is pretty devastating. But I've also, like many people in the world, have tried to use this as a bit of a challenge and an opportunity to do things differently. I know it's been really helpful to actually live like my parents did and meal prep, for example, and instead of having the luxury of just getting something or going out to dinner, it's been nice to actually eat that box of pasta that's been sitting there forever that I always look at and go, what are we doing with this anyways? Now I know, or those beans. Get creative with it, So stuff like that. Yeah. And also, like I've been talking to maybe some people checking this out. I've been joining my live streams at noon each day with different people I've been talking to, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it's so important to mention that now's the best time to reach out to people to talk to them. We've become really good at scrolling through Instagram, giving a best friend of yours a like instead of giving them a phone call. Now's the time to call them, especially your parents, your elders, grandparents, if you're lucky enough to still have them, and everything in between. It's nice. It's nice to connect with people. Yeah. I'm sure I would have seen you on tour or some radio event we do together, but it's cool to just see your face right now and actually talk.
Yeah.
I get to see that thing on your wall, that art piece. That's nice.
It's reclaimed, bro.
Exactly. See, I didn't know that. Now I do. So I'm enlightened, and that's a good thing for sure.
I really appreciate you saying that because it's so true. It's so easy. And I do that a lot on the AWOLNATION social pages, like, retweet. So it is cool to connect with you personally. And that goes for all of our other friends and family members. My parents live in Atlanta. They're going nuts because they're just there.
I know. Yeah. My dad's at an age that is at risk or whatever. And he golfs a lot. He can't go golfing. And, his physical activity keeps his mind pretty clear. So yeah, my heart breaks for him and people much worse off. There's people that rely on their day-to-day freedom to travel around to get water or food, and so those are the people that we're trying to figure out ways to help, with these different conversations I've been having. Yes. Asking different guests and giving them the opportunity to share some of their charities, and we try to list them each week, do a recap, and this is also new. I'm trying to like take it all in and figure out what the hell we could do when this is all done, whether it's with live concerts or different cities we visit, whenever that's safe or legal to do again, and how we can help, whenever the next big DC 101 show is, what could we do? What will that be? And so I'm trying to figure that out. I don't have any answers yet, but there's definitely some good charities to give to, because most charities that need help need more help than ever right now.
Yeah. Yes.
So if someone was in need before, they're even more in need now. So it's important to take a look at those things as well.
I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah. I do. And I'm wondering, and I hope that a lot of the things that we have kind of morphed into doing on the daily right now, I hope we keep some of it when all this is said and done. Yeah. A lot of the generosity and the kindness, and generosity doesn't just mean giving money or giving food. It means giving your time and an ear and listening to people. I hope that we don't just kick this to the curb in a year, because I think we're better for this with regards to the personal aspects. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I hear you loud and clear. You don't want to come across like, oh, this is such a good thing, because it's correct. Obviously not. It's obviously not. But there are surprisingly good self-improvement, things happening. That was a botched way of saying that, but I talk to my mom every day, and if I don't, I'll talk to her twice the next day or whatever. We weren't talking every day, and we should have been. My mom's. You only got one mom, right? And then all that stuff. Yeah. And so, maybe there's some people out there too that are mending broken relationships right now. Maybe there's an estranged friend that you're like, you know what? F it. I'm going to just give this person a call and drop my ego. I find that a lot of people our ego collectively as a human race is a little bit, with the exception of some high up people, of course, the ego is definitely, it's definitely a reset in a lot of ways, because you can't do the same. We're so much of our freedom is definitely taken away right now, and we're all in that together. And so that's the first time I could, in my lifetime, that the whole world feels similar.
Yeah, everybody's kind of on a level playing field. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So there's plenty of positive stuff. Getting rid of the clutter in your life, all those things, and try to do something physical, even if you're in a tiny room. Do a bunch of squats. I never thought I'd do so many squats.
How many squats can you do in a row without
just without weights and stuff?
Yeah,
probably a lot, honestly. But I don't know. I've never just done them in a row. They're usually part of a whole circuit I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I try to. It's usually like 20 at the end of this other stuff I've done. But if I were to guess how many squats I could do without weight in a row, I'd have to think like 50 plus, right? I don't know.
Have you ever had a conversation on Instagram Live on April?
I have a very flat ass, so I should tell you that. There's not much power, but since I surf, I think I could do quite a few squats. I don't know. Sorry, what was your question?
I got nothing, man.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Because in 4 days, there's a record. Have you ever heard of Angel Miners and the Lightning Riders? You ever heard of that record?
Yeah, I'm excited. Excited as one can be. There's a lot of debate whether now is a good or bad time to release music, and
yeah,
I'll tell you that. I'll put it to you this way. Of course, there's a risk of, I shouldn't say risk. There's the argument that since you can't be on tour, since I can't play like the Tonight Show or whatever, like the things you're usually doing to set up a record, or I'm not physically there at your radio station or wherever I'd be, you could argue that is a bummer. But the opposing argument is that it's really important to release music that people are counting on right now because it's therapeutic. And not that I expect everybody to feel that way about my songs, but I know that's how I feel about music right now. And there are many bands that, you know, I looked up to growing up that I would be crushed if they decided to delay their record because of this, because this seems like the best time to listen to the music that you like.
Yes.
And especially if it's music that has lyrical context that can be relatable to what we're going through right now. And this record just so happens to be really inspired and written about my experience with the California Woolsey fires. So it's bizarre how much these songs feel appropriate for today. I'm not saying everybody should like them or not like them or anything like that, but the tone of it feels right. And so it was never a question to delay it.
I love hearing that. And I think everybody that is a fan of you and your band loves hearing that, because I'm sure maybe you had a conversation with a couple of industry people that were like, hey man, maybe you want to pump the brakes on the release date of April 24th. And if you're all speed ahead, you know, this will take on a different meaning for so many different people.
Yeah, hopefully I could just be, you know, be thought of as like a little bit of a pillow or a blanket or something like that. When the dust settles, it'll be fun. It'll be fun when we can go on tour, whenever that is, and no one has the answers yet. But we're working obviously hard every day to figure out all the different possibilities. But it's been so cool I feel like I have a bond with my audience that I hadn't had before. You know, it was always there, but this has taken me and shot me out of my comfort zone into, unknown waters, and I'm swimming around, and I'm in here and I'm looking around and our fans are there. You know, the whole world is sort of like, what are we doing here? Where are we, like when everybody jumped off the Titanic and they were looking for something I just watched Titanic recently, if you couldn't figure that out. And it's my wife's favorite movie, not to embarrass her right now, but I did watch it, and it blew my mind even now. So there's a scene at the end where they all get displaced from the boat and everybody's looking for, something, some sort of wood or something to rest on. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. And hopefully some of these songs can be like a small piece of something that floats enough for Rose to survive. This is the worst analogy of my whole career that I've ever made.
Dude, I am so with you right now. I think we're just waiting on you to say that you may be the king of the world.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know which character. I'm probably the band that keeps playing as it sings.
Oh my God. That was such an intense part of that movie. And I don't know if it's true. Maybe it was. But if you were in that band and the captain said, hey, keep playing or else, we already know what or else is going to be, dude.
Yeah.
So
it's funny to watch that movie because I think like as someone I'm pretty comfortable in the ocean. I think like, I feel like I would have been building some sort of floating, taking a door and try to figure that out. And so I could float instead of relying on a boat that I would have been definitely part of the crew that wasn't allowed on the boat, and then jump off and ride that out. So yeah, I'm sure that your listeners and my listeners really were hoping we talk about Titanic today.
Well, I do have a question about the guitar around your neck. Is it the same one that sleeps next to you every night? Do you sleep with a guitar next to you or under your head?
No, I don't. I like to put it away. I have a few guitars that some are cheaper than others that, I have the old beat up guitar I learned on.
Oh,
that's
cool.
I don't even know what it's tuned to. It's just really muddy sounding. And I pick that up for a certain mood. And then I have this National that I'm not clear on exactly the year, but I was told it was a 50s guitar, although I find that hard to believe. I think it's probably in the 60s. And it doesn't really stay in tune, but it's fun to play and pretty easy to play. Although some of the strings kind of wrestle with the frets a bit and cause a buzz, and I wasn't able to get that fixed. This is nerd talk, obviously, but this is the one I've been picking up to play some of the songs and figure out ways to do versions of these songs. Because with AWOLNATION, the band itself these guys are so talented that I really lean on them for the acoustic things. Or my keyboard player, as I'm looking to my right, he can't be here obviously, but I'm looking at his whole setup. I'm at home in my studio right now. So I'm looking at that, and he would be making some really ambient, beautiful sounds for stripped down versions, or Zach playing guitar, because they're really good musicians, where I'm just basics guy, you know. So I've been just trying to get better at doing something I've never done before, really, which is to play a song with just me and a guitar. You know, I do it for my my dogs and my wife, and there are mixed reviews at times, you know.
Before you play a song, true or false, people with dogs are better people?
Well, I hope they're good people to their dogs, you know, for starters. But you know, I never want to offend the cat community, you know.
Well, we've got a cat too, so
because that's a whole that's cat people, that's a whole other world too, you know. So I think having an animal in your life that you take care of, especially if you're fortunate enough to rescue an animal or help them, it can be very therapeutic and very any chance you get to take yourself out of the situation and make it about helping someone else. And I don't mean to sound so high and mighty, and I could do a better job of this too, but you usually walk away feeling good. So something my dad's always told me is anytime I've gone through a rough moment or has some sort of disappointment or anything, he always reminds me that's a good opportunity to try to help someone else, because it helps you in the long run, and everybody kind of wins from that, you know.
Yes. What song are you going to play with that guitar that's around your neck? That you're not
Therapy with DC 101. That's what this is. Well, I could play. I'll give you two options. I've been playing The Best because it's the single, and by the way, we have another single coming. I don't know if you know about that or not. Do you? I don't know how popular.
I do, and to that, I might just say something along the lines of, dude, I have Fiesta fever running through my veins
at all times, you know. That one won't work acoustically, I will tell you right now. So that I cannot do. I'm not a good enough guitar player to shred that one, but hey, hopefully you guys will play it. Appreciate it if you do, and it's okay if you don't too. But so I've been playing The Best, and I've been playing California Halo Blue because those two songs feel The Best I just had to figure out, and it's a sadder song than people realize when you hear it out of context or on the NHL All-Star game or whatever, you know, something like that. It feels like Rocky, but like Eye of the Tiger, which I do, a great song, I do love very much, but it's more of a self-deprecating song. So when I strip it down, I'm like, oh, this is kind of sad. So I played that song, and then California feels appropriate for what we're going through emotionally, although it is about specifically where I live. So I wish I could change the lyrics to being like more of a We Are the World moment, but it doesn't work, you know.
I like that you pay homage and have a handful of times throughout your career to California. I do like that. That's a great song, by the way. I love that song.
Thank you. You know how it is. We're simply a result of our upbringing and our surroundings and the geography where we grew up. You know, it really shapes us. I'm sure being in DC has a huge influence on you politically, because you're around, you know, you may bump elbows with someone who's actually making decisions that affect our lives, you know. Have you had any experiences like that where you see someone, you're like, hey, I want to tell you what's on my mind, you know, or anything like that?
Well, we were on an airplane going to Nashville. This is probably 3 or 4 months ago. Who did I walk past in first class? Wolf Blitzer.
Wow. What'd you say? Anything? Nothing.
I just said, hi, Wolf. Because he was wearing a vest that said CNN on it. Like, wow. Come on, Wolf Blitzer.
I did an interview with CNN on Monday. Wait, no, today's Monday. I don't know I think it's just for their entertainment section, but it was one of those things I could text my dad, and he was stoked on, like, Dad, I just did an interview with CNN. You know, of course, in his mind, he was thinking I'd be on like actual news, but of course, it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be a small thing you have to find and click, and I'll send them a link. But it was cool that they were curious about, you know, the album and why I'm carrying forward releasing it. And I'm really happy to talk about it, because I think I will say too, that our whole team, whether it's our label, management, and everybody's really unanimously positive about continuing on to release music. Because if you're delaying it, how do you know when this whole thing is going to be normal again? No one really knows. So you may as well just put your best foot forward and hope for the best.
I want you to play a song, but I also then want to ask you a couple questions because Friday's song release in addition with the record, will that be the 5th song from the record or the 4th? Haven't you released
What do you mean?
songs?
Yeah. There's 4 songs, and then the whole album comes out Friday.
Yeah, so that's another question I have for you, but I think we should hear a song. But I do want to ask you why I can ask. Hell, I'll ask you right now.
Just ask me. Yeah, I'd rather end with the song because then it's like an epic ending instead of ending and like singing this note and then going. Anyways, starting talking, you feel pretty weird. This whole thing is weird, man. Music, talking, singing, all of it is weird for sure. But
so
anyways, your question.
Why did you release a handful of songs prior to the release of the record? Because
well, for a few reasons. One, I get excited for people to hear the music.
Yeah.
And 2, knowing that, well, at the time, having a tour plan, I wanted people to have more time to learn the songs. So selfishly, they could sing along and we could have this joyous experience together when we inevitably showed up in their city. But also it's interesting to do sort of a case study on what you can see. This is kind of like this is unsexy talk, for music, but you can see the engagement and what songs are sticking with people more than others. So it's kind of a nice way to look at the impact of each song. Go, okay, well, even though this song has more streams, we can see that this other song has more engagement and sort of nerdy stuff like that. And you can see, basically what I'm saying is you can find out which songs mean more to your fans than others. And then you could make an educated, sort of an educated guess, I should say, on what maybe is your best foot forward with the radio game, or what would be appropriate to pitch for something else, and also these songs I felt like this, people don't tend to listen to albums in their entirety much less now than they did when we were growing up. So it's also an opportunity to keep people's focus on these songs that maybe they would skip over otherwise,
yeah.
And that goes for all artists. You hear the popular songs on the radio, or the ones that are on all the playlists, or the ones that have the memes or the TikTok plays. That just showed like how out of touch I am. I said TikTok plays. I don't even know what the TikTok, the viral stuff, and it gives you a chance to let songs stand alone and have their moment, almost as mini singles. Not each song is going to be worked at radio, but each song has their moment to come out and for fans to go, cool, I'm going to just digest this song for what it is. And there's only 10 songs on the record. It's not like my other albums that have a lot of songs and segues and like weird stuff like that. I wanted to have a focused album of just kind of, these collective moments that told a story, and not have too stony of a story I was trying to tell.
I think I love The Best. When that came out, I try to sing along. I don't know all the words, but I'm pretty good at dancing to it.
Mm-hmm. Good. I'm sure all our viewers should see that at some point.
I might dance to that. I love that. What the hell is Diet Glue?
Diet glue is sort of a metaphor for something that doesn't exist necessarily, but something that if you heard, like, I'm sure a lot of people, if they're like, oh, there's this thing, diet glue, you could take it and be this or that, people would probably take it, even if there were no tests. I was talking about science fiction, and sometimes it feels a little bit like we're in a sci-fi world with, because everybody talks about, okay, one day they're going to put computer chips in us, right? Or one day it's going to be this or that. Like, we're here. You don't need a computer chip. Your phone is, we're all guilty of looking at our phone too much, especially when we have to work from our phones. Lately, like I don't spend too much time on my phone, but in the last 3 weeks, I've had to be on a lot, and it sickens me in some ways, but I have to. I want to connect to people.
Yeah,
so that's a positive thing. But, you look and you go, wait, they don't need to connect this thing to me. It already is. It's on my hand, And how often has your hand felt weird after being on the phone too much, or felt like numb or whatever? And So I guess it's my way of sarcastically addressing that we're here. You know, we are in that sci-fi movie right now. And then even to further that point, look at what we're going through with everything right now. I'm talking to you on my phone instead of physically being there. It's really weird.
I know it is, dude. You know, I surprisingly happened upon a version of The Best with Alice Merton.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it existed until it just came out of the speakers. And dude, I freaking love that version. I love the original, but I love that you're collaborating with Alice Merton. She's such a great voice and talented musician.
She's a great singer, and it was another good example of the sci-fi world being a positive thing too, because you can connect to people. So even though we're on lockdown, staying at home, doing our part, she was able to record that in Berlin, Germany, send it my way, and we could still, you know, collaborate together and have that human connection, even though we couldn't physically. Like, I've never even met her. I've never hugged her or said or shook her hand or said, "Nice outfit." You know, like, we've never seen each other in person. So
how did that come about, dude?
I think that you know, just different team members. Like, one of my managers knew their manager, someone, you know, one of those kind of deals. But once people know each other, it's as simple as you know, do you respect each other? And I like Roots a lot, and I like some of her other stuff, and I like her voice, and she seems like a really sweet person. And the respect was mutual, and she liked some of my stuff. And so it was a kind of a no-brainer, you know, to have her on it.
This girl Michelle just said, sounds like such a fun project and fun work. It's got to be cool as hell to have a song that you've written and then, hey, would you sing a chorus or a couple of lines on this so that we can remix it? And like, that's cool as crap, dude. Like, that's got to be such a fun facet of making music.
It's minimal work for me, because the hard part is the writing of the song.
Okay.
And the recording of it, that's the stuff. And then, but if someone wants to join up on a song that already exists, it's pretty easy. I mean, it may be hard for them, who knows, but I think she sang it pretty relatively easily and quickly and sent it my way. And so it was a painless process for sure. And then you get all this attention out of something that was really easy. So
yeah.
It's one of the few moments that aren't that hard that you see really great results. So, you know, now that song's taking off in Europe, she has a really nice presence in Germany, of course. So it's awesome. So like, when I go and check our feed or see what fans are saying, we have a lot of her diehards have joined the AWOLNATION family, and they're all friends. And that's been a really cool thing to see, as well as our fans having new relationships with other fans. Like, when we went out with 21 Pilots, I've noticed that a lot of our fans have merged together, and there'll be, like, you know, avatars that are called, you know, AWOL Pilots or something like that, you know, or whatever. And so anytime communities of music lovers can get together, I only see that as a positive thing for sure.
Anybody ever send lyrics your way and say, hey, can you record this and send it back so that you can be on one of our songs?
Not exactly like that, but I've done certain collaborations. Like, I did a cover song of that Harvey Danger song, Flagpole Sitter. I'm sure you guys still play that song, like, as a recurrent.
Yeah. It's part of our gold.
Yeah, that's a great song. I mean, I remember when that song came out, I was young, and so I did that song with Elohim. And I don't remember how that came. Oh, I had her sing on Table for One, a song on our last record, and then she sent me an a cappella version of that, of the cover song, and I decided to make a whole thing out of it, and then I sang on it too. So it's not the same thing, but no, I haven't just featured on a song like in that way, but I'd like to, and I would hope that it would be easy to do, and it wouldn't be too hard for me to sing. It's hard to sing other people's stuff. It's always been hard for me, for sure, you know. But in the case of Alice, I think she's such a pro singer that I think she kind of just nailed it. And then I had a talk with her 2 weeks ago on one of my little, I don't know what I'm even calling this thing that I've been doing, but I surprised her and asked if she would play a song for everybody. She did. And it was humbling how good it was. It was really good. Her and the piano, she just kind of melted everybody.
Yeah.
Great.
That's cool. I think in this environment, it really shows off some pretty cool skills when it's just you and a guitar and a microphone or a keyboard, you know.
Someone just mentioned the Grandson Blood and Blood Water remix. So that's something I did, but that I didn't sing on that. So that wasn't like the same thing we're talking about, but it was really fun to do that remix. Remixes are fun because the song, like I said, the hardest part is writing the song and then performing it, singing it right, all those things. And then, so to do a remix, you're just doing a twist on some original content, you know, and making it your own. And not that remixes are easy, but it's not the same kind of pressure as writing it.
Do you enjoy the production part of remixing? Do you like producing?
Of remixing or doing just production in general?
Or both?
Production for me with AWOL stuff is the same thing as the writing.
Yeah.
I think I'm lucky and it's a bit unique that as I'm coming up with the song idea, I'm usually recording it at the same time. So production, the producing of the songs, you know, whether the sounds or the instrumentation or how I want it to end up sounding, it kind of comes at the same time as the writing. So it's all the same to me. You know, like a lot of bands will go, okay, we're in pre-production or we're writing, we wrote these songs. Now we're going to meet with the producer, narrow that down to the, you know, 10 to 15 songs. Now we're going to record it. Now we're going to do vocals. We did drums, you know, like it's not like anything goes for me. I could record, we could be done. I could just go record, you know, a vocal and then put all the instrumentation around that, or start with instrumentation and then put the vocal on top of that. So it's all the same thing to me, you know. And I write all the songs myself, so I don't have to rely on. Sounds like I'm bragging. I'm just telling you the truth. But
no, you're not. I think,
you know, like when I look at like the Grammys or something like that, you know, some of the artists that have won, I look at the songwriters because I'm curious about it, and it'll say like 15 songwriters for some bands that are bands that, you know, are played on these radio stations, and that was surprising to me because I always thought of as alternative music, you know, and to a certain degree, the punk rock mentality that I was raised on. I was just surprised to see how many songwriters are on certain songs.
Seems like a lot of cooks in the kitchen when you do that.
Well, some bands' intentions are just to win at all costs, whatever it takes, kind of mentality. And I'd rather write a song that I love that no one cares about than have a song that feels watered down, that, you know, that there's 5 writers on. But that's just me. I have heard songs that have multiple writers that are deeply moving too at the same time. I only say this because it was surprising, and you were asking about production, and to me, it's all encompassing and all the same thing, at least how I go about it.
I have another question about a remix. When you're doing a remix, and dude, I don't know all I do is play music and listen and indulge it the way it is to me. Mm-hmm. When you're doing a remix of one of your songs, do you ever have to re-record vocals, or are you going to take the original vocals and just manipulate the shit out of it?
Usually you mean like a remix where see, remixes I'm not going to necessarily sing on. Yeah, right. Okay, so if I'm doing a remix of someone else's song, like Jordan's, Grandson's Bloodwater, I just took his vocal and kind of rearranged the structure in a way that made sense to me. So I think I like cut out parts of his verse, and maybe what he thought was the chorus, or what was the chorus on his song, I used as the verse, and so forth and so on. So it's about like kind of just introducing a known song at a different angle. And you almost feel bad, dude. I'm like, man, I feel so bad. I'm like rearranging your whole creation here. But, you know, it's like I suppose it's like when you see a movie and there's like the director's cut or something like that, you know, I don't know. But it's a lot of fun. It's like it's kind of math in some ways. It's musical math. You can look at it as a grid and go, huh, that chunk feels like my favorite part. So why don't I, at least for my remix of this, use that one part that was actually the bridge that only happens once, and let's have that happen 4 times, because that seems different and fun and exciting. And you hope they're not offended, you know, and you send and go, fuck, I hope, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. Shoot.
Shoot.
I never know where I could cuss or not, you know? It's a thing. It's part of my vernacular, and I'm trying to get better at it. But so I apologize to any of you people who would be offended by that or young
I don't
kids.
think all 100. I don't think anybody's offended at your use of that.
106,
Maybe,
dude. 106.
yeah. Well, but also I think maybe we're more offended at your use of the word shoot. Who ever uses shoot? I never use the word.
Right, yeah. Or darn or heck. I've been saying heck instead of hell a lot lately.
But I think we all know what you mean.
Or heck yeah instead of F-U-C-K, yeah. You know, it's been a nice change for me. And if you could save your cuss words for when they really matter, hugely impactful.
My brother does that. When he cusses, I know he's mad.
Yeah. My wife's the same way. She doesn't cuss a lot, but when she does, I'm like, oh. I'm sorry. What did I do here?
Hey, are you I saw this thing on the internet the other day that said, hey, you can use this app to calculate your pre and post quarantine weight. Are you gaining any weight? Do you snack a lot? Are you a snacker?
No, not really. I've gotten pretty insane with my regiment during this time. I think I probably lost some weight because I'm not able to eat the same amount of protein probably that I was eating before. Because I was trying to gain muscle for a while. Like I'd never done that in my life. I'm like, I'm going to see what it's like to do that. And so because of this, I've been sort of like, I could feel myself withering away a little bit and getting smaller in some ways. But yeah, who knows? I know I stopped weighing myself a long time ago because those numbers can be deceiving. It's really about how you feel and how clothes sit on you, I guess.
Do you like the song? What? No, I snack a lot, and I just bought a huge double box of Lucky Charms, and I'm eating the shoot out of it.
The thing about well said. The thing about cereal is I just don't know how to stop once I stop. I don't understand because you don't feel satisfied from one bowl of cereal ever. So you're at 2, and then you're like, well, that's 2. I may as well have 3. And I look back to being a kid and how unhealthy I was. I'd roll like 4 full bowls of Fruity Pebbles. So I'm making up for sins of the past for sure these days.
Well, here's the thing. It may be 4 bowls, but then you got leftover milk, and you're going to pour the rest of the cereal, enough cereal in there to use the rest of that milk.
You're not going to waste the milk ever.
Why would you? And it's so delicious. It's sweet.
Yes.
Will you play a song?
Sure.
What are you going to play? You said I had an option.
Everybody's like, shut up and play the song.
No, because I think we're fascinated by the way you make music because you play so many different instruments and you record and you have this cool ass studio at the house. And so like, I don't think anybody's saying shut up and play a song.
I like to set the bar low so you could just pump us up, you know? I could play the best or California. The best is simple and easy. California's a little longer, a little more dramatic, you know? So it's whatever you want, you know?
Long and dramatic, I think is my vote.
Okay. I saw someone that said CHB. Okay, here we go. What if I just fell over?
I don't know. I would stay here. I wouldn't go anywhere.
So, yeah.
That song just leaves me without words. I was just looking at some of the comments and the emojis and stuff and like, that's intense.
I paid all those people to say some nice stuff. And so hopefully they did. They'll be receiving 50 cents each. It'll be a pretty cool thing, you know. That's my stimulus package is to
yeah. Dude, that's such a great song. I don't normally ask where the title of a record comes from because that's just not normally in my arsenal of questions. But where the hell did the name of your new record come from?
Okay, so when the fire happened, the California Woolsey fire, appropriate to talk about after that song, came through. As most people know, burned down my studio, you know, lost a bunch of material stuff like cars. My wife, both our cars burned, which is bizarre, you know, to see. And then, you know, all these different, you know, animals like birds and the trees, all the heavy darkness. And to see that all with your own eyes was overwhelming. And then being displaced and, you know, everywhere around here was in shambles. So, and I was on tour. I was on that 21 Pilots tour at the time. And we played in LA the day after the fire had rolled through and no one was able to I wasn't able to get home. I wanted to go home and just see it with my own eyes, but everything was blocked off, so I couldn't get there. So I just stayed on tour. And of course, the songs at night were pretty therapeutic and a way to lift my spirits and roll through. But at some point during that tour, I would do this thing called the lightning wave, where I would get a lot of the fans to, well, actually, truly, the whole arena would hold up like, you know, a light, like people would have lighters at shows. So I had them do a wave across the whole arena, and we would do like 8 laps of this wave. And I realized as this thing was going through, I was like, oh, this is a lightning wave. And then as a result, I'm like, I'm a lightning rider. We're lightning riders together.
Oh, dude.
So that was sort of like a positive spin on what was going on. And then, of course, I had to figure out, so if we're the lightning riders, who are the bad guys? Who are the guys who cause these problems? Whatever natural disaster. Like I wanted to put a face with the fire and evil, honestly, in our world, and darkness. And so I came up with these angel miners, this gang that mines for fallen angel bones. I know this is out there. And then, so that was my way of dealing with the fear of the unknown, of how to pick up the pieces and of everything that had been lost. It's always important for me to mention how lucky I am that my house didn't burn down. Because I don't know how that must feel for some people. Like my neighbor just below, they lost their house. So it's insane. But so going full circle, that was my fictitious fantasy way of compartmentalizing good and evil. And because when we're growing up, you ask your parents, in some cases, why do bad things happen? Right. And there's not a great explanation that I've found. It's like, well, bad people do bad things, or evil happens, or why did this earthquake happen that decimated people, or or a volcano, or a virus, whatever it is. And so I in some sort of like comic book fantasy realization way, came up with these two characters and these two gangs. And then weirdly, like I said before about releasing this album, the songs feel completely, eerily, if that's a word, parallel to what we're all going through right now. So hopefully people can identify with it and think and feel a little bit better listening to the songs. And if it's 5 people or 5 million people, I'll feel like it was definitely worth releasing, regardless of being able to go on tour or not.
I am so excited to buy the record and listen to the songs that ultimately came out of your mind during that very personal thing. And all joking aside, thank you very much for sharing that. The title is incredible, and I was one of probably everybody on this Instagram live that was doing that wave when you.
Oh, cool! So
Pilots.
You remember that?
I remember it vividly, and it just kept going, dude.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Somebody mentioned Alfie. I do remember going through this. I feel like we've all been through this with you on social media, because I remember you posting those beautiful pictures of your dog and your personal stuff, right? Amongst all this nasty stuff. And you had said that your neighbor was cool enough to come kind of put some water on some stuff, right?
Yeah, he built this incredible sprinkler system. So I've been paranoid about it since we moved here. And growing up in California, I'm always like, it's Russian roulette. I don't know when it's going to burn, and so I weirdly had this fear-driven. You could use fear. Fear is mostly bad, but you could use it as a good tool every once in a while. Kind of like how Zach De La Rocha said, anger is a gift, in some ways. But I was just like, I think it's coming soon. I don't know why. I just have this feeling. So I actually had him install the sprinkler system that was very elaborate and very extreme and over the top, only like 3 months before the fire came. So had that not been here, who knows? But it's a pretty good chance the house wouldn't have survived. So my wife left, I think precisely 2 hours before the fire roared through here.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to go turn on the sprinklers. She did that.
Oh my God, dude, this is pretty intense. It really
okay.
is. We've got a lot of love and respect for you, dude.
Oh, thanks, dude. It's okay. You know, other people got it way worse than me. But so on her way out, Alfie, my neighbor, who by the way had lost his, he knew he lost his house in the 1978 fires, and so the same footprint of that fire, it was basically a repeat of that same routing of a fire, and he had lost his fire. Then he lost it again in this fire. So he had built everything back up, had an incredible property, and the fire roared through his zone again. And as that happened, he's like, all right, he took his loss and he came up to my property.
Oh my God, dude.
Turned off the sprinklers because he wanted to save the water. It was also like his project. It was like his passion project, this sprinkler system. He turned it off and he waited until he could see the flames running down the hill towards the house and turn them back on. Saved my whole zone, dude. And so I don't know if I could have made this record had he not done that, because I made the whole thing inside my house that he saved. So God bless Alfie, and I don't know what I'd do without him. He's the guy he's on the cover of Here Come the Runs. That's him that I'm talking to right there.
Yeah.
Big beard, coolest dude in the world, has stories for days. He told me a story recently that he hung out with Walt Disney back in the day, and like in some secret place in Disneyland and shit. Like he's incredible. His stories go on, and I'm really lucky to have him in my life.
Will you please rephrase that and say Disneyland and shoot? Because we don't use shit here. We're using the word shoot.
Yeah, Disneyland and stuff, you know, shoot.
I want to end on a very positive note. I freaking love the song called Slam.
Thank you. Play it. Go rogue. See what happens, you know?
I have to know, what is the keyboard that you used when it breaks down? And like, no. Like, that is the coolest vibe, dude.
Are you talking about like the first chorus where it breaks and then that beat comes in? Or are you talking about the end spooky stuff?
Maybe the spooky.
The spooky stuff at the end that feels like Freddy Krueger or something?
Yes,
or
dude,
like Halloween.
I freaking love it.
That's a guitar, dude, actually. And I posted, I'm not sure if we're talking about the same thing, but I posted on my feed on Instagram the footage of when I actually played that part. It's probably like, if my memory serves me right, it's probably like several posts back in time. Okay. And I'm wearing a funny white hat and I have blue shorts on.
Okay. And
so, yeah, that's the actual live tracking of that part. And I suck at guitar kind of, but I was like blown away that I pulled that off.
It's wicked as hell. Can you see how I feel kind of stupid right now? Because should I have known that's a guitar?
No, because I may be talking about the totally. I'm not certain that we're talking about the same thing, but I know that was a guitar. Where the other synth parts, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what patch that was or what I found. You know, because a lot of sounds I use are several sounds rolled into one that gets something, and sometimes it's like I'll start with a sound that sucks kind of, and it sounds stupid, like a bad 80s movie or whatever. But I know that sound is silly, but there's some sort of quality within that sound that if it's layered with something with a little more like substance, I guess would be the right word, that ever so slight flavor of ridiculousness of the original terrible sound will add something different to this cooler sound. And then so it would never sound the same on its own, if that makes sense. So it's sometimes a combination of a lot of weird and some bad ideas to get to a great idea.
I can't wait for the record. I've said that like 3 times now, but
Thank you.
I'm just excited because you're one of my favorites. And, you know, with regards to going back to what we were originally talking about in the beginning, where you said, hey, some people don't listen to a record start to finish. I love listening to a record start to finish because that's the way you intended maybe to hear it. Otherwise, you drop an EP, right?
Yeah, definitely. So in some ways, I guess we dropped a miniature EP to get people stoked on, but I can't wait for the whole story to unravel, because these songs definitely make more sense front to end. And I'll just say that, you know, if anyone actually gets to the last song, that's the whole goal. You know, if someone listens to the record front to end and gets to the last thing, because I always throw a big finale, you know, surprise in the end, and there's definitely a major one at the end of this record.
I've got one final question, Aaron.
It may be explicit, the lyrics too, so be careful.
Yes. What is the one thing that you love outside of music that consumes most of your time outside of music? It has nothing to do with music. Is it, you know, hiking with your wife and your dog? What is it?
Well, it'd probably be the time I spend with my wife and dogs for sure. But as far as something outside of that, it would be surfing. You know, I mean, most people know.
Yeah.
How else would I look like this? You know, scraggly and some people ask if I dye my hair or whatever, bleach it, and the answer is no, of course not. You know,
Beautiful hair.
Thanks. I'm wearing a beanie because it wasn't looking so hot earlier, and it was kind of cold. The sun's starting to flirt with coming out a little bit, but yeah, surfing's the main thing for sure.
Well, dude, I'm thankful that you would cut out an hour plus of your time to just be on Instagram Live.
Hey, you know what's been cool is people are available. So, you know, so I've reached out to so many people to talk. Like next week I'm going to be talking to K-Flay, and then Connor from Nothing But Thieves, and then Brandon Boyd from Incubus. So it's going to, and then I don't even know who Thursday and Friday is going to be, but that's, you know, like these are people I probably wouldn't be talking to like this had this not happened. So there's another positive. And I talked to Phineas the other day from
yeah, I saw that. I saw your post on that. That's cool. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And talked to some other people, and Duff McKagan, of course, the Hall of Fame bass player of Guns N' Roses. And I'm talking to Mike McCready at Pearl Jam on Thursday. So it's been really cool that people drop the ego and we'll just talk, you know. It's been really nice. So thanks for talking to me today.
Yeah, and likewise. I can't wait to see you in person, and I can't wait for whatever the tour in support of the new record looks like. We'll be there.
Yeah, me too.
Buy a ticket, and we will be there.
Yeah, maybe it'll be free. Who knows? I don't know.
Don't do that. We got to support.
Yeah,
we got to support. That's the biggest way that we can do that through it. I mean, I say the same thing when I'm talking to musicians that make a living doing just that. But dude, it's music. It's a concert ticket for a T-shirt. You got some cool shit on your merch page.
Yeah. The fun thing about the Angel Miners and the Lightning Riders, you could choose a side. You know, you could feel kind of wicked and evil and go that route. You know, and Halloween can't come soon enough. I can't wait to see what people do next Halloween as well.
Aaron, you're awesome in so many different ways, and your time is valuable, and we all appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. It's really good to see you, and thanks for the kind words. Really appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, man. Take care.